And okay, so just fill out this form what happened. Then my manager, he will...
Oh, no, I just want to rent a car, man. I've got a car, it broke down, and my night is ruined. I need a car. I have a rental agreement. I scheduled it online.
You're right, sir. That's the requirement we have to do. Did you call the roadside, sir?
I called Budget. Budget said they were going to send a tow truck out. The tow truck towed me and the car to some lot somewhere else.
So just put your what happened here. So
it quit working.
I'm sorry about that. That's the requirement. Okay?
I know, but you understand this is like messed up my night, and no one's actively trying to get me a car right now.
I know, sure, we'll give you a car.
Hey guys, I know most people probably come to my channel hoping to find a laugh or something that makes them smile. In this particular video, we're going to focus on anger, sadness, depression, and stress. What you just saw there was a rare moment for me. I'm a fairly docile individual. It takes a whole lot to get me agitated. What I learned during this experience was that if you send a tow truck for me and have the tow truck drive me out to an impound lot in a different state and drop me off alone and drive away, that's where the line is. That's where I start shouting at a stranger through a piece of glass. Definitely not my finest moment. So how do we get here? Well, someone put me in touch with a seller of an aircraft that seemed like it checked all the boxes that I need checked. The seller had some communications issues, and so we had some information, but in hindsight, not enough information to warrant getting a plane ticket and flying out to look at the aircraft. But we had a little bit of information. We had some photos that were taken, I don't know, with a radio. We had 4 photos, but everything seemed kind of okay. We just needed more information. The mechanic agreed to meet me out at the airplane. So I thought, you know what, I'll go out there. He can explain to me the history of the airplane, give me some details. Certainly we'll take it flying. And most likely everything will work out. So I decided it would be a really good idea just to buy a plane ticket and head out there and go look at it.
All right, we're going to New York today to hopefully check out a plane. When I say New York, I'm not talking about the good New York. We're going to Albany. Also, in this plane market, when things are going really fast, you don't have time to mess around. And so you travel, whatever, you get the ticket. And so it's, I don't know, it's early. So I'm going to go catch a red eye to Albany. This is probably the worst part of looking for a plane is spending the money to travel and have someone inspect these things and trying to find one that you think will work for you, knowing full well, because I've done this before, I may get out there and come home and go, nope, that's not the plane. Foreshadowing. So anyway, day one of trying to find a new plane.
So here we are. We're about to catch the red eye. We got our ticket bought. Everything's great. What could possibly go wrong? Everything's going to go wrong. Let's just get into it.
Update. When I booked the trip last week, apparently I clicked December instead of November. So I just changed the flight to today, which fortunately there were a handful of flights this morning, so trip just got a little more expensive. I'm an idiot.
So I took off from DFW Airport really early in the morning, and I had one layover on the way. Take a look at the city in the background and see if you can guess which city this is. I'll give you a hint. They like cream cheese, they like cheesesteaks, and they like the Philadelphia Eagles. So if you can guess the name of the city, leave it in the comments below. Winner doesn't get anything. I was only on the ground for about 45 minutes in Philadelphia before I had to get onto one of the much smaller winged aircraft that's allowed into Albany. My first impressions of Albany from the air, it's really pretty. Looks like the landscape was starting to turn. This time of year looks kind of nice. And I believe in the background are the Catskill Mountains. I think mountains, probably a term that should be used loosely. Well, I'm from Texas. Those are mountains. At any rate, it was really pretty flying in, and that's good because my moment of Zen was about to come to an end. So the plan was to land, get the rent-a-car, and drive out to the airport. I wanted to look at the plane Friday night. Saturday, the plan was to meet the owner and the mechanic on site, go around and look at the airplane, learn about it, take it flying. So I got my rent-a-car, and I got about, 5-10 miles away from the airport, and suddenly the car starts just shaking violently, and I ended up pulling off the road and pulling into this parking lot over here. This is pretty much what it looked like. Weren't a lot of cars in the parking lot. I suppose this guy probably rented from Budget as well. So I'm here in Albany, New York. I just landed and I managed to get about 10 miles from the airport and the rent-a-car has broken down. Fortunately, I'm in an area with these abandoned buildings. What? How? Why? So they're going to send a tow truck, and I'm going to ride with the tow truck driver back to the airport to rent another car. I also just now found out that the plane I came up here to look at has been out of annual for 5 months. So I'm not going to be flying it. So now here I am in a different state with a broken down car in a parking lot where there didn't seem to be a whole lot of resources. So I did what anybody would do. I called Budget and Rent a Car and said, hey, the car's broken down on me, and can someone come pick me up and bring me another car? What they did instead was said, we'll send you a tow truck. So they called a third-party wrecking service that's unaffiliated with Budget and said, hey, our car broke down. Can you come tow it? What I anticipated would happen is that a tow truck would show up and drive me back to Budget, and I would get a rent-a-car and be back on my way. What actually happened, the tow truck driver showed up and loaded the vehicle onto the back of his truck and then offered me a ride back to what I thought would end up being Budget, where I could get another rent-a-car. I'm in a tow truck. We're going back to the airport. Where he took me was some sort of impound lot where they tow cars. I don't know if this is their business where they bring cars back to. Basically dropped me off, said, wait here, and then he drove away. So this is where he dropped me off. This is the inspiration place of the video game Grand Theft Auto. This was the Minecraft version, I believe. Anyway, he dropped me off here, drove away, and I had no idea what to do. But it was really strange just being out there at night and not knowing what my next step was. I ended up finding a woman who had a car and was driving by, and I waved her down. I don't know if she worked there. I don't know who she was, but I said, look, Budget brought me out here and dropped me off and drove away, and I need to get to the airport and get another car. And as bad an idea as this was, I didn't have many other choices. I got in the car and she drove me back to the airport, which is only probably a mile and a half away. It wasn't too far. But still very, very odd set of circumstances to find myself in. So the next bit of video you're going to see is somewhat unintentional. I had been out there intentionally filming. I thought I was filming myself when I was in the lot trying to figure out my next steps, and I think it wasn't. And then when I thought I stopped it, I think I turned it on. So the next few clips were unintentionally filmed. So some of it's vertical, some of it's just black, and you can hear the audio because the camera was in my pocket. So was he supposed to take me there, or was he supposed to take me back to the airport?
I don't know what is maybe I think suppose he drop off in the airport first and then drop off the car.
That's what I would have expected.
Yeah.
I get back to the Budget rent-a-car and I tell the guy what happened, and I need to get a replacement car. My plans have gone awry. And he says, before we do anything, you're going to have to fill out an accident report. And that's kind of when I lost it. I understand that's their policy. There was no accident. Their car broke. I think how they should have handled it was someone from Budget should have come out and brought me another car, and they should have dealt with the tow truck situation. But I guess it's easier just to tell you to... My car broke down. Okay. And so they towed it to some towing lot, and so I've been hanging out in the cold for like 3 hours. I'm here on a trip from Dallas out of town, and my car broke down on the side of the road, and it was a Nissan Rogue. I rented it 3 hours ago. It broke down, and now I've got no car.
Do you have your key? Or?
No, the tow truck. They towed it into a lot, and that guy, the tow truck, they've got the key.
What is your name, sir?
Brian with a Y.
What happened with your car, sir?
The car broke down. Like I was I got 6 miles away from the airport, and the check engine light came on and it started shaking violently. I called Budget. Budget said they were going to send a tow truck out. The tow truck towed me and the car to some lot somewhere else, and then the woman at that lot drove me back over here.
Oh, okay.
This one too. And the
Okay, so just fill out this form with Haven. Then my manager, he will...
Oh, no, I just want to rent a car, man. I've got a car, it broke down, and my night is ruined. I need a car. I have a rental agreement. I scheduled it online.
All right, sir. That's the requirement we have to do.
Why do you need to know my employer's name?
I'll check what, and so I mean, just put in your address, name, phone number, and when he go to the parking lot, I will ask him the car information. We need to put in the agreement number and the stuff. Are you done?
I don't have the agreement. I don't have it's in my hotel room.
So just put your what happened here. So
It quit working.
I'm sorry about that. That's the requirement.
I know, but you understand this is like messed up my night, and no one's we're actively trying to get me a car right now.
I know, sure, we will give you a car.
So I landed here, and after I landed here, and while I was going through the car debacle, I called the mechanic who was supposed to meet me at the plane tomorrow to do some inspections on it. I called him, and he said, "No, I'm not going to meet you there. I'm getting on a plane tonight to fly to Dallas." And also I found out that the plane's not in annual. It's 5 months out of annual. Every single thing about this is different than I would not have bought a plane ticket. I would not have spent my time and my money to come up here if any one of the things that I know now had been disclosed to me prior to this. I guess I'm going to go look at the plane tomorrow. Why? I don't know, because I'm here and the plane's here. Hey, real quick interruption. Please understand that I know that this is all first world stuff. Please don't think for a second that I'm sitting here going, oh, woe is me, I can't find an airplane. In the realm of aviation and trying to track down a plane, it's frustrating, it's annoying, but I get that these are not real problems. I'm fortunate. I'm lucky that I get to do this. I have not lost sight of that. And I don't think for a second that any of this really matters. And I hope that you guys understand that. For what I'm doing here, yeah, it's frustrating with regard to the real world and how things happen and what are real problems and what are not real problems. I know this isn't a real problem. So please understand that. Back to the video. So the next thing that happened is I get a call and I'm told that the owner will meet me at the airport tomorrow so we can look at the aircraft. So the next morning I get up super early and I just drive out to the airport. And so I pull up to the airport and I see a guy working on the plane and I go talk to him and I said, hey, do you know this individual who owns this plane? Are you familiar with this plane? He said, no, I'm not, but it's probably in that big hangar over there. Owner was a very, very nice guy. And I kind of hoped when he got there, he would open this hangar door and I would just see a trashed airplane and the decision would be made. He opened the door. The plane looked beautiful. The paint was meticulous. Everything about it looked amazing. And I expected to just be ready to walk away from this plane. And I saw it and it was just a gorgeous airplane. Then we got to the logbooks and that's when I learned the plane's been sitting in that spot since my youngest child was born. It's unfortunate the plane had sat so long. I know that's not a good thing for these engines. They need to be run periodically. The owner said he ground runs it from time to time, but he's not able to fly the plane. I'm being intentionally vague. I'm not showing photos of the airplane. I'm not really talking about the airport because this isn't the plane for me. But it might be the plane for someone who can take a financial risk, right? If I've got red flags that tell me this engine might start making metal, I don't want to run the risk. There may be someone out there who, finds this plane and says, hey, this plane's beautiful. It's got everything I want. And if something should go wrong with the engine, I've got the extra funds and my wife's not going to get mad at me if I spend them on this engine. She's not here. So I went ahead and declined this particular aircraft and decided, I would head back home the next day and not worry about it. But lessons learned, right? So we have a plane that had been sitting longer than I'm comfortable with. We had a plane that was out of annual and couldn't be flown. Two things that had I known, I wouldn't have flown down there. I found it very irritating that the mechanic changed his mind, I guess, and decided that he couldn't meet me out there. So there's a lot of information I couldn't get. We couldn't pull any plugs and look in the cylinders or do really anything mechanically to the aircraft. And of course, we couldn't fly it. So it was very disappointing. I would not have gone down knowing any of those things. And then, of course, the rent-a-car situation, honestly, don't tow your customers to a random parking lot and drop them off. What a really terrible experience. So anyway, that one's not for me, but you know, who knows? Maybe one will turn up and it'll be the right plane for me, and I'll end up with something soon, hopefully. Foreshadowing. So anyway, first plane is a no-go, but the journey continues. And in the next video, we're not going to talk about plane shopping. One of you is playing a prank on me, and it's very interesting. So look forward to a unique, interesting, and weird video about one of you people who's having some fun with me. Until then, you guys fly smart. So I flew into Albany International Airport, and okay, looks like Google Maps is on some drugs. This is a very dystopian airport. There's not a whole lot of people out here. All the planes seem to be rotting. But yeah, it's different than I remembered, actually. So this is where I ended up getting stranded. And then what? I think I understand now why these buildings are abandoned. I feel terrible for anybody who was in the building when this sinkhole opened up and ejected them into outer space. That's wild. I don't know. There's a programming bug, I suppose. Click this link to see the most recent video upload. Click this link to see a video that YouTube thinks you might like. Click this link to subscribe to my channel.